For several years now, some states have been testing the boundaries of constitutional limits on economic regulation. It's an issue that could have troubling impacts for agriculture. Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law joins us now for a recap. Thanks for joining us, Roger. Let's start with some background on the issue and where this is occurring most frequently in the country.
Well, good to be with you, Christina. Actually, it's occurring in a number of states across the country, but I think the most active state is California. And California has been doing this for a number of years. And what they're doing is they're setting laws, in California in particularly through their initiative referendum process, and they come up with these various propositions. And those find their way into law, and they set requirements that out-of-state ag producers of ag goods have to meet before those goods can be sold in the California market that establish those requirements. So in effect, what they're doing is they're passing laws in California regulating not only agricultural production conduct in the state of California, but also in all other states where producers want to sell into the California market.
Wow. What is the Dormant Commerce Clause? Talk about that a little bit more, if you can unpack it for us, and talk about how it ties into all of this.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, there's a clause in the U.S. Constitution known as the Commerce Clause, and that gives the Congress the power to regulate commerce among the states. Now, the Constitution doesn't specifically limit a state's power to regulate commerce, but the Supreme Court for almost 200 years has interpreted the Commerce Clause as an implicit restraint on state authority, even in the absence of a conflicting federal statute. So it's Congress that gets to impose economic regulations. So under the Dormant Commerce Clause, a state cannot enact any rules or regulations that affirmatively discriminate against the economic production of goods in another state without some sort of legitimate local justification for doing so. And what California did a number of years ago, back in 2014, there was a court case involving what California had done with respect to the production of shell eggs. And they said they had to be produced in a certain way, and they based this on health and safety concerns. And there were a number of state attorneys general that challenged that law, Missouri being the lead state. But a lot of the poultry production states, egg production states, challenged that law. And basically it had to do with how the hens that were laying the eggs were confined. Well, that lawsuit got dismissed on standing grounds. And then the issue came back in 2018 because in the fall of 2018, California voters adopted and then passed another proposition that established minimum requirements on farmers to provide more space for not only egg-laying hens, but breeding pigs and calves that are raised for veal. So it's gone beyond eggs. And most recently, just a couple of months ago, that law was challenged by the National Animal Meat Institute, but the trial court rejected the challenge, saying that, well, they failed to establish that it discriminated against out-of-state commerce for the purpose of economic protectionism. Kind of hard to believe, but that case is currently on appeal, and there's a separate legal action that's been filed in a different California court against Proposition 12, and so that litigation continues.
Absolutely. Roger, you know, California, they are now dealing with a whole new slew of laws going into 2020. So we're going to be watching that going forward, but also really looking forward to catching up with you ahead of tax time, because we're going to have so many questions surrounding what happened with the Paycheck Protection Program and the pandemic. So we're looking forward to catching up with you into the next few weeks. We've got a lot to talk about. Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law, thank you so much for joining us. You can always visit washburnlaw.edu/Walter for more information right now if you want it.